Hi guys, in this video we're going to be looking at bivariate data where we have one numerical and one categorical variable. Okay, as you can see, each row here represents one observation, and we have a total of, we can do a spot check, 30 observations. So we have a sample size of 30, two variables, one numerical, one categorical. And all we want to do here is get some summary statistics. So first off, we'll treat the sample data as if this second variable wasn't of too much interest to us. So as if x basically was alone, univariate. So first thing is we want to get the sample size. So very quickly we'll do this because this is, I have other videos where I've done this type of thing. So equals count gets us that, equals average will give us the sample mean, x bar, and to get the sample variance we use var.s, and we get the sample variance. Okay? Now, it's more interesting and more to the point of this video. We want to use this second variable here, and we want to use the information it has. So as you can see, very generic categorical variable that takes on one of three levels, A, B, or C. So what I would really like to do is to summarize, like I did here, this data, but cross-tabulated, or at each level of this categorical response. So what do I mean? I want to know how many observations I have of type A, as well as what's the average of x when the type is type A, and what's the variance of x when type is at level A. And then I want to do that for each of the three levels. So let's just jump in. So first off, we'll do a count if function, and this will let us specify our criteria. So this is what we want to count, but we only want to count when we find an A. Sorry, let's pull this over. Actually, this is what we want to count, and we only want to count when we have criteria A satisfied. Okay? So we have 13 observations out of a total of 30 that are of type A. Let me just do this one again. I could drag this, but because I made a slight mistake, first argument is, and the second argument is, okay? Well, this might be just due to formatting issues. So I believe that might be our issue. Let's reformat this as text. I don't know why it has a number. Okay. Well, that could have been our problem. We did a count and not a count if. Okay, so let's close this out. We do a count if. And this is our range. This is our criteria. So as you can see now, it's like that slight slip up over here with type B. We have 13 observations of type A, 10 of type B, 7 of type C. If we highlight here, we could do a little spot check and see that in fact these add up to 30, which is the total number of observations. Okay, so that's nice. So that's the easy bit. Next, let's get the sample mean when type is A. So average if. So let's make sure we slip that if in there. So our range is going to be the type variable. The criteria is specified over here for this row at least, for this column at least, and the average range is going to be the x variable. And notice I'm making absolute references around those ranges because now I want to drag this to the right. I don't want to have to retype that. Okay? So we can just spot this. We can say, what is 1.55? Well, 1.55 is the sample mean of x when the type is A. So everywhere you see an A, if I average the numbers, I would get 1.55, and then so on and so forth for type B and C. So far I think this is relatively straightforward. If you're somewhat a novice or medium level Excel user, you can follow how these functions work. Last one is a little bit different though. You might not have seen this function. I want to get the variance now for each type. So I got the variance for the whole data, which was just var.s highlighting the whole x column. But here I have to use this function Dvar, and this is a slightly less used function than the ones that we've seen so far, but it's not so difficult to understand. So first argument is the database. So this is basically all our data with the labels. Let's lock that. So I hit F4. Okay, so that part's simple. Next argument. Which field do you want me to calculate the variance of? Okay, so here we have a couple options. One would specify column 1 of the database that we highlighted. We could also, in quotes, type the name or the label of that column. Alright, but let's just do it the simple way. 1. Okay, so this is saying so far, here's the data to look at. Get the variance of the first column. Well, that's not any different than what we've done over here. The last argument is going to let us specify to only take the variance when this criteria is satisfied. And what's that criteria? Clearly, we've set up this table nicely so that we don't have to even type the letter A there. Okay, and as we can see, we're getting an error here because I actually need to highlight the title of the column in the database that contains the criteria. So that's why I had to repeat this word type A, type, okay? Or else I would have much preferred to write type and merge the column, okay? So let's hit enter, and there we go. Now we have something to work with, okay? Now I'll walk through this again for type B, but this can be just dragged now to the right, because the only thing that's changing when I drag to the right is the type is changing to type B and then to type C. But just for practice, let's delete these and do them manually, or at least slower. Okay, so again, Dvar, the database is this entire 2 columns with the labels. I lock it by hitting the F4 key on my keyboard, comma. I'm interested in the sample variance of the first column of the database, comma. The criteria I want, I need to specify the title of the column in the database that contains the criteria, as well as the specific level of that criteria that I want. So that's set up quite simply over here. Close parentheses. So this is only going to get the sample variance of x when type is B. And finally, Dvar. The beauty of this is you only have to type it once, and then you can drag it as many times as you need. We're just doing this a little slower so we get more practice. So again, the database, we'll do this a little quicker. Lock it. Criteria, the field that you want to take the variance, column 1. We could also do X if you like. Let's switch it up. That's the label of column 1. That's another way. Okay, and then finally the criteria. This time it's type C. As you can see, we get the variance. Alright, so that's quite useful. Now we have something to work with. This might be the beginnings of perhaps an ANOVA, right? An analysis of variance, perhaps a summary table at the very minimum. Okay, you can also get standard deviations, obviously, by taking the square roots here. So No explicit formula that I know of, but no reason to not just take the square roots here. Alright, so I hope this was helpful. This is how to deal with bivariate data where you have one numerical, one categorical, and you want to summarize before you proceed to do anything further, as opposed to just getting the plain old one-dimensional statistical summary. So, till next time, make sure to subscribe, watch my other tutorial videos, share, and have a great day.